Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Capricorn. If Capricorn is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Okay, let's see. What do these tea leaves have for us tonight, Capricorn? Okay, so we have some rather large groupings here. Okay. Hello, TT. You can probably hear her. All right, and so we're using a different tea. This last cycle of readings, I've been using different teas every night, and this one is the English breakfast. It just is interesting because the leaves kind of, as they steep, they kind of plump up a little bit more than I usually use the Empire of Kiman. And so the actual formations look fairly different. And it's really interesting because when I first started reading, they were more like this. I was using teas that were more like the English breakfast. And so the formations would be bigger, and as you turn them, they'd look like different things, like on every side. So it's interesting to kind of get back to that. Now, first I want to look at the card, just to kind of lay down the energy of the reading, if you will. This is the Fool card, and this is from the Thoth deck. And this is a TT, and there's TT saying hello. And excuse me, I am suffering from some allergies, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully my voice doesn't give out by the end. So we have the Fool card. We know this is the 0 card, and I think sometimes it's the 1 depending on the deck, but this is the first card in the major arcana, and this is probably maybe my favorite archetype, just because it is an archetype that of a being who is uninhibited, who is moves freely. It has no fixed place or state or mission, just kind of goes with the flow. In my estimation, is closest to the source, is wide open and able to interpret and receive the divine inspirations, because they are not seeking them, and they are not coveting them. They are not trying to keep them. They just kind of come and go as naturally as the wind, right? And so they are in this place where they can experience the divine in every little thing. And so this is kind of like, what we what some of us wish to ascend to or to get into a place where maybe we could be like this. Now, is this a lifestyle in the mundane world that is practical? Maybe not. Is this a lifestyle of longevity? Probably not. I mean, maybe, I don't know, but it would be a difficult life, right? I mean, to just take care of yourself in the basic ways. So, not many people truly live the path of the Fool, okay? But I do love the energy, and I will love all the artwork that kind of goes with this card, and all of the different iterations and you know, different kinds of things that people have done with it. And and so this is kind of the energy. This is also, to some degree, there's a sense of merriment and kind of, you know, letting loose a little bit. But this is not necessarily like that bacchanalian, you know, going to the forest, drinking wine, whatever, eating. What did they used to eat, like raw meat to like bring in the power of the meat, the essence, and, you know, run up the sides of mountains and naked, or whatever those rituals were. Just kind of a frenzied mess a bit. That's not exactly the same energy, but it could be similar, right? There's a lot of overlap there. So let's see where this goes. Let's see what the cup says. All right, so we have, and this is my favorite so far, just looking at it, we have definitely the Capricorn formation here. So with the horn, kind of, it looks like a robe, or maybe a dress, but definitely it reminds me of kind of what I would imagine something like a Goya painting, like one of those Black period paintings would be, just kind of creeping along. Kind of almost hermit, maybe a devil kind of energy, maybe a little bit of Saturn or Kronos. But I also think it's interesting because there is the hand kind of reaching up to the mouth here. And it almost, I would think, kind of like a silencing, but I don't think it, I think actually it's like kind of bringing something up to the mouth to consume. So this is not that bleak, melancholy kind of, you know, hungry, wasting away configuration, but this is more of an indulgent, satiated, partaking in the offering, right? Right in the mix of this ceremony, of this ritual of life, really living, and activating self. And what comes to mind thinking of this, as I'm saying this, is kind of this affirmation that also goes along with the Fool, which is this: I honor, I respect my nature, my true nature. Okay, whatever your true nature means, I don't know exactly, but to be able to embrace whatever it is that your nature, beyond all of the kinds of conditionings or social mores, the manners and educations and you know, knowing betters and all of that. There is whatever propels you in life. What is it that, you know, pulls you along? What is it that you seek? What do you desire? What keeps you full, right? Or what keeps you hungry? I mean, it kind of depends, right? And so, in this posture of feeding the self, right? And in your whatever form or whatever positioning your Capricorn's in, but it's manifested here. So in your true form, while feeding yourself, so honoring the self, the true will, the authentic nature, whatever it is, which is a beautiful thing and something to be admired, truly, but also something that is a lot of work to get to. This is not, I mean, the way that we live, the way that the world is kind of set up, at least in the, at least where I'm from, in the West, right? This is what I know. This is the context that I've grown up in, is that every moment of our life is being molded away from just what we are, right? We're constantly trying to fix and change and refine and cut off and add and, hide, suppress parts of ourself. And so, to get back to beyond all of that, to figure out what's beneath everything, or what is, what has not been so fragmented, or what fragments you can piece back together, that's a lot of work. Jung talks about, the first half of our life, we kind of are walking away from ourselves. We are living, experiencing, but constantly just that hammer of society, of family, of responsibility, of, yearnings and unresolved things and unprocessed, unintegrated, whatever it is, all these different parts, they just kind of swim around in chaos. But then we get to some part of our life. And, I think interestingly, this might align with this idea of the mystery schools, of the higher forms of religion, when the initiate comes to a certain age, probably the beginning of middle age, where they then begin to truly do the work of the interior orders, right? They are doing this true mending of self, this true kind of courtship with God, activation of those corridors of agape leading through that maze into, the middle there. And so I think this is very in line with Jung's idea of the beginning of individuation. Okay, and so this is really putting to use the process, the shadow work, the activation and understanding, the court, not unlike the courtship of God, the courtship of the archetypes, okay, these different marriages and unions that come together in this work. But really also what is so important, and actually maybe will seem more practical, is processing the traumas, the either direct traumas of some kind of terrible from childhood, or the passive traumas that we are engaged in, just being human beings and and physical bodies walking upon this earth, right? And so you get to an age where you begin to try to understand some of this stuff, try to let go of some of this stuff, try to figure out how to survive life with you know, the knowledge of these things, of this world, and then the many worlds, the interior worlds, and so on. And it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a big job, right? But I feel that this is something that I look at this simple formation, and I think, and this also ties back to some of the other readings, but I think that you have always been so well suited for your exterior pursuits. You've done well in your work. You've done well if you went to school, an academic education, or some kind of trade, or whatever it is. You've always done well. You've excelled. Okay. You've also done so much maybe therapies, or just, you know, venturing into kind of self-help, or your own intuitive processing of your childhood. Okay. And so now I think that you've really come to this place in your life where you are so apt and capable that there's no other way around it. You have to go in, right? You have to begin that mystical work. This is unfortunately, Capricorn, this is what you are suited for. And let's look at this one over here. I've been talking about the same one for a while here. We have this formation, which is really interesting, because here it looks like a little prince with the little hat or the little crown, and it looks like a short person, the robe, and it looks like it's kind of got this oversized head, very much a place of ego, of privilege, okay, of just kind of sloppily going through life, and you know, not having had too many challenges yet, not the ordeals that are really going to kind of show, you know, what is it really about? what can life really deal you? And so then we begin to turn it, and we have this dragon just kind of perched on this globe. And it looks like, you know, I don't know, it maybe something dripping out of it. And so I think that this very much kind of relates to this idea of growing from adolescence into a younger person. There are, you know, the beginning toils of trying to find some kind of power in your own life, some kind of sense of control, trying to understand the world, trying to find your place in some way. And the impatience and anger, still that privilege is present there. And in this energy of trying to just dominate. And I think that this can be so destructive, of course, especially if somebody has kind of a configuration towards narcissism. Okay, but I don't think that this is the case here. I think that this actually served you in those earlier years well, in the sense that it helped you with business or finding the work that you wanted to do. You were not somebody that could be pushed around. You figured out what you wanted, and you figured out how to get it, and you did the work, and you know, learned the rules, and you played by the rules, and you bent the rules, and you made the rules your own, and so on. Okay, you really kind of had that ability to kind of create your own world, to take hold of that globe, right? Okay. And then we see, and on either side here, to me, this looks like more of a bird, okay? And I think that, and then really kind of on this side, it looks like something almost riding the bird. But I think either way, it doesn't, how this kind of plays out in my mind is that past all of that necessity to kind of build up your life and the foundation of your life and get things going, having this desire to build and then building it. And then, you figure out how to make all of that work, how to keep it sustained, all of the nitty gritty of those things. But maybe that's not enough at some point, and you find yourself kind of unable to find complete fulfillment in that. Maybe a little detached, maybe a little bit more and more in your head, wondering, kind of more of these existential types of questions, these kinds of questions about spirit, spirituality, God, meaning, and, luckily we live in a world now where, it's a blessing and a curse, but there's so much information and everybody has an opinion and an interest and very easily can share these things. So there are so many little fragments of things appearing, these little bits of, of knowledge and divinity kind of appearing and showing themselves to you, maybe through other people, the things that you kind of see widely on the internet, whatever it is. I think that some things have touched you in a way that it's kind of like, okay, so I'm feeling this way. I'm wondering, what does this all mean? I've done well in these important parts of my physical life, my material world, but I need something more than this. Is there more than this? Where do I find that? And so I think, you're really in this place of kind of collecting those things, collecting those pieces, and using your mind, your imagination, your higher intellect, your that strand, that golden thread that ties you to the universe, to that God source, if that's what you believe or feel, spirit, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it the universe because it leaves it very ambiguous, right? And that's okay. It doesn't have to be any one thing. It can be whatever you want it to be. And so I think that this is just a beautiful, beautiful time. So much space to explore your capacity for joy, for love, for pleasure, to indulge your curiosities, to be experimental in whatever part of your life that you want to be. And I always get this feeling with Capricorns, very independent people. Okay, so you know that you can rely on yourself. And you know that you have the innate sense to take care of your safety, temper yourself, and be mindful of where you tread, right? So those things are all very important, but I know that's already very much part of your thinking, okay? Let's see, what else do we have? Let's see. We have an L, okay, right there. We also have what looks like an I and an L, okay, like a lowercase L. And those might be important, Maybe they're not. I kept looking at this one. This one looks like an N or a Z. Okay. So let's look for in your life anything that might lead you into something with an L, an I, an N, or a Z. Okay. Those might be important things coming up here. And I've been looking at this one. I just want to look at it. And so from these two together, I just want to look at it this way here. Okay, so this one kind of looks like, it almost looks like a mermaid, but it almost looks like kind of a person. It reminds me of something like a Medusa, right? With the kind of wild hair, but also kind of this serpenty lower half, okay? And then we see this little person with maybe a stick or some kind of maybe some kind of weapon, okay? But this one's interesting because it looks like it's touching the nose of this one, and it almost seems like a very kind of disarming, like disarming with tenderness. And so I think with this archetype of Medusa, which is a very kind of complicated, especially for me, story, because although in popular culture, Medusa is kind of this, I think a gorgon is what they're called, that can turn you into stone if you look at her. And she's kind of this, you know, very primal, primitive, serpent, reptoid kind of brained thing that's just like there to destroy her foe or whoever kind of comes into her chamber. On the other side of the story, she is a person who was attacked, who was abused, and was turned into this creature because her abuser's partner was upset. So she was turned into a monster because she had been you know, attacked or whatever. So it's really this very sad story. It's kind of a deep tragedy. And then she cannot relate to people because she's, you know, she'll kill them or she'll turn them to stone. And so it's interesting because there's this, you know, in this image, in this formation here, this kind of want to relate, but there's not, you can't, because it will, you know, ruin the other person or hurt them or destroy them. Okay, so just maybe something to meditate on. I don't know exactly what that means in this context. It kind of isn't, it's not super in line with the rest of the story, but I think just maybe the idea that we have to be empathetic, open-minded, and careful with other people. Especially when we get into these energies of being maybe a little less inhibited. If you are, you know, casually dating or, you know, having friendships or whatever it is, we need to be careful with other people. And, or if we're in conflict with people, trying to not engage, especially if we can remember that everybody has something going on or has had something that has happened in their life that maybe has affected them. And so if we can remember this, maybe to temper our own reactions and to maybe back off a little bit so it doesn't have to come to a place where you know, things get uncomfortable, things get, you know, start to escalate. Just disengage and de-escalate the situation from the beginning, right? So I don't know exactly, this is kind of a separate little piece here, but yeah. So anyways, let's take a look at this one. Ooh, and it looks very busy for you, Capricorn. We have actually, interestingly, we have a little cardinal, which is always, in my mind, a sign that somebody who has passed, that you, a loved one. I always think of like a grandparent or a parent, possibly an older person. I don't know why I align it with that in my mind, but I do. Is coming to check on you, to let you know that they love you, they're present for you, and you know, their energy is there right alongside you. And actually, you know, in the United States anyways, Memorial Day is coming up, so maybe a good time to go and honor them in some way. We also have this eye, okay? And often when I see the eye, I'm not going to say that there's like an evil eye on you. I always just think that it's a good practice for kind of evil eye maintenance. So kind of if you have like a talisman, if you wear something special, some kind of symbol to ward off the evil eye or somebody kind of looking at you and disparaging your name, just, you know, throw that symbol on. Or always a good practice too is the house cleansing. And this could be simply just cleaning your house up, getting things organized, moving things around to get new energies in, opening your windows, letting fresh air come through your house. Don't let that stagnant air hang in there too long. And, you know, if you keep altars, maybe cleaning those up, leaving new offerings, cleaning the water bowls, all those kinds of things. Okay, so yeah, I think that's our reading for tonight, Capricorn. I think you're really in an interesting and fun place. There's a lot of possibilities coming up, a lot of wonderful self-works happening, and I would love to hear what kinds of things you're doing. What kinds of plans do you have coming up for yourself? Other than that, if you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps me get into the algorithm. And we are building this channel up together, and I appreciate each and every one of you. If you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing so. You can hit the little bell. It will let you know when the next videos are coming out. We just got over 6,000 subscribers, so yay to us. And I also want to shout out my wonderful and lovely husband's channel, Dove and Serpent Tarot. They just got 50K over there, so yay to him and all of his wonderful subscribers and people. I know some of you come over here and watch too, so if you're listening, thank you to each of you. And yeah, so we will talk in about 7 days. In the meantime, you can go ahead and watch your other placements, your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising. I know some of you love to watch your Venus, and a lot of you like to cross watch too. So if you don't know what that is, that's watching the readings for your loved ones, your significant others, that kind of thing, your children, that kind of thing. So yeah, go ahead and do that. I support that 100%. All right. Thank you so much, Capricorn. We'll talk again very soon.